Hey you guys, it's Katie and Elisha from the blog and podcast nowthatwe'reafamily.com, and today we get to talk about picture books. We love reading picture books to our children. We did a whole other video that will be linked down below on the chapter books that we read to our children this last year, and we really just started cultivating our picture book library along with our chapter book library last year. I went through a little season of extreme minimalism when we first got married. I threw away some incredible books that my husband and I had built up over the years, our book collection. And, it served us at the time, but we are back in the mode of just organizing our books, but cultivating a rich library on the picture book level, on the children's chapter book level, and for our own reading purposes. And we really enjoyed having books in our home. To me, at this point, they're well worth the maintenance. And you just have to have good shelving options.
Yeah, I tell you what, not all picture books are created equal. And I don't think I realized that until I started reading on a regular basis to my kiddos, because some of these books I'll pick up and 2/3 of the way through it, I am struck with the profundity of the messaging in the book, or the beauty in the way it's written, or the beauty of the illustrations. So it's been really fun to start handpicking various picture books or illustrated books that we are going to have be a part of our long-term family library, and to have those be the things that we're introducing our kiddos to at such a young age.
Yeah, and these are the books that you want to read to your kids over and over and over. And children do ask for picture books over and over and over. So you want them to have great illustrations, a beautiful message. And again, I'm going to use that Charlotte Mason term, twaddle. You don't want them to kind of be this useless, silly, dumbing down language. We want to be elevating the language in our home. And we could do that even through picture books. And I think that is the perspective that caused me to start buying our own picture books instead of just getting books from the library. A lot of these you can get from the library, but I was in a stage for the first few years of our marriage when our kids were little of only getting books at the library. I was like, I don't have to store these. I don't have to take care of them. It's great. You get a really mixed bag at the library. Now, for the most part, it's still fun to go there and get some new books, but it's nice to know that we have a plethora of really rich literature at every child's level just right there in our home.
Anything by Beatrix Potter, I'm going to actually come out here from the get and say they were a challenge, a true challenge for me to read from the get. And I was so confused because the kids would run one of these books to me, Benjamin Bunny, or they'd run the Two Bad Mice book to me, and they'd ask me to read it. And I'm on the first page struggling on how to pronounce like half the words and how to actually read it in an effective way to my kiddos. So these are really fun stories, really great illustrations, and it's actually really good for the kiddos' vocabulary and, like I said, for my vocabulary as well.
Yeah, I particularly like this set because they are hard books. And so yes, they hold up really well. They're still pretty beat up. This was the first set of books I ever bought for our kids.
Yes.
And I figured you couldn't go wrong with the classics. Hey you guys, I just wanted to tell you real quick about my homeschooling course, Homeschooling the First 3 Years. It's all about laying a foundation of joy and confidence and fun and simplified homeschool in your home. So if you're in a place where maybe you're considering homeschooling your kiddos in the next few years, then this course is for you. It's going to break down not only what we do for homeschool in our family and what we've done for the first 3 years in homeschool, but it's also going to show you exactly how that looks. So I'm going to take a camera around with me vlog style and show you how does it look to homeschool with a baby? How does it look to homeschool with a toddler? How does it look to homeschool multiple grades at one time? How do you navigate different learning tendencies? How do you navigate your learning style as a teacher? And how do you motivate children and get them to love learning? I love homeschooling my kids. One of my favorite things that I get to do with them each day, and it's something that I want you to love doing with your children as well. So if you look down in the description box, you will be able to find a discount code where you can get a discount off of homeschool the first 3 years, and I really hope that it blesses your home. Whenever I think of Beatrix Potter, I think of my grandma. She always had the best picture books at her home. And one of the picture books that we would beg her to read over and over and over as children when I was a child was Miss Fanny's Hat. And it's the story of this older woman, Miss Fanny, and she gives up her most prized possession for the church. And it just shows like how it's better to give than receive, I guess. But it's such a fun book. She has all these delightful hats. It's just really, it's a beautiful message, and it's also just illustrated in such a fun, fanciful way.
Oh, it's my turn.
It's your turn.
It's my turn. Okay. Well, most of you probably know that we are big time Little House on the Prairie fans. You know, Laura Ingalls Wilder. We're reading her literally on a daily basis in our home. And this is a fun illustrated rendition of Little House on the Prairie, of Laura Ingalls Wilder. And this is so fun because we're reading the longer books in the evening time for our family read aloud time. And then the kids have this to reference. It helps them picture the characters all the more. And again, the illustrations in this really all are noteworthy. And Pa's beard is something to, I think, aspire to. So I know that, yes, the writing inspires me, but seeing the illustrated beard of Pa in here actually makes me want to get up earlier in the morning, work out more, and do all the things that I'm capable of doing, of growing a beard like his someday.
The language in these is also really great. The print is big. Sorry, I'm stealing it from you. The print is really big, and so it's great for early readers as well, because there's only a few words on each page. So this could be like a good transition for a kid's early reader. Brambly Hedge, you're gonna find this on if you don't own this already, you're gonna see it on like everyone's list. And the Mice of Brambly Hedge go through all these different seasons, and you can get the big book. I like little books. I think they're so fun to read. The problem with little books though is when you have a lot of kids around you, it's harder for them all to see the illustrations. So I don't know, I think the kids love to hold these themselves and look through the illustrations, but it is harder to read aloud to the children. But it's just so fun. There's all these little, they have all their little homes and tree trunks, and it's like everything I loved to daydream about when I was a child. Like, making a little mouse boat out of leaves, and like using nuts to make hats. And it's really, really cute. So the series is precious.
The #1 most requested book by our 3-year-old, Lewis, and he's our third born, is Pirates of the Sea. In fact, I think this is the 3rd copy we've purchased of this book because it's such a family favorite. Whenever it gets damaged or torn or lost, we have to replace it instantly. And I'm not gonna lie, this book is hilarious. It is a straight up blast to read. Again, the illustrations are really fun, and it's about pirates, but it's really rhymey and dimey. And as the reader, like, you can't help but smile on each page as you're reading it. So I really enjoy Pirates of the Sea, and so does Lewis, our third born.
Yeah, so actually we got this book at the library. It is a book that Charlotte Mason would probably consider twaddle. It is just kind of silly.
Whoa.
But it's fun to have those books in your library. Obviously, the kids like those books. It's not like every book has to be, just this great mental stimulation.
I know.
But we loved it so much, we went out and we purchased our own copy because we couldn't be checking it out all the time.
Yep.
And like you said, it is just a staple in our house. We will never not read it when the kids bring it to us.
There's intellectual stimulation that takes place in this book. Not only that, there's, I think, edification that takes place from this book as well. Okay, you just don't look deep enough.
this book, this gal was considered the Swedish, I hope it's Swedish, not Scandinavian, Beatrix Potter. And I don't think her books pack the same punch that Beatrix Potter's books do, but they're really sweet. If I were to do this again, I would not buy the full set of these books. I would just buy Pele's New Suit. This book is precious, and the work ethic told in this story, it's all about a little boy who trades and works and finds a way to make a new suit for himself. And he does all the work himself, and if he can't do it, then he does work for other people so that they can do it for him. The sewing part or whatever he doesn't know how to do. So this book it inspires you to be like a hard worker as a little kid and as an adult, and it's just incredible.
This picture book about Joan of Arc has been really fun, but this, once again, like, I feel like this could have gone in just like, this is a long read. Like,
this is not a one-time.
Yeah, I feel like it's been 4 or 5 sittings that I've gone through this with the kiddos, and you have to remember where you left off. It's not quite like a page bender, but it is something that you have to remember where you were at based off of the picture where you left off was what? And again, I think it's historically, accurate as far as like the big details. There's a bunch of, I guess, inferred things that who knows how accurate they are, but it's still a really fun read. And obviously the dates of the battles and the various characters that they introduce were historical. So there's some historicity to this that is fun to introduce into our home. And then you get to draw some morals from the story as well.
St. George and the Dragon. I mean, this one's just a classic story that they're going to read over and over, especially if you're studying classical literature in your homeschool or in your school. The illustrations in this are gorgeous. The language in this is awesome. And I love the bang for your buck. When you look at a picture book and there's this much writing in it, like that's going to keep me and my kids engaged for a very long time.
So the James Herriot Treasury for Children, I'm not going to lie here. This is one that I've not read to kiddos, but Katie wanted me to talk about it to put me on the spot, I guess. The reason she wanted me to talk about this is because, I guess full disclosure here, Katie and I have enjoyed a show on, where's those, like a PBS show or something?
It's on Amazon, I think, right?
It's on Amazon. It's called All Creatures Great and Small, but it's supposedly a story about James Herriot and just kind of his journey being a vet.
In Derby.
Yeah, in Derby, England. That's all I know. Katie, do you want to share anything else about this book? Because I've got nothing to say about it.
It's basically it's a story about all of his veterinary experiences and how he served animals as a vet. And so the pictures are really beautiful.
It is great illustrations. This is my first time seeing it. and I am captivated, actually.
Town mouse, country mouse. Who doesn't love a town mouse and a country mouse story? I really like the illustrations in this one. The story about Ping, the kids love this. They just go around singing la 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 lay over and over and over. And it's all about the Yangtze River. And so that's fun because that's referenced in our missionary stories. And who knew you could learn some geography through a little book about Ping. Oxcart Man is really fun. It's like this seasonal story of taking care, it's like homesteading and how you can make lots of things and then go sell them and how the trade and barter system worked. And
nice.
We read this one a lot too. It's really inspirational. And it gets the kids thinking about what they could do to earn money or how they could trade. Was handy dandy, helpful Hal, the pooped out parent's perfect pal. This would also probably count as a twaddle book.
No, I don't believe that.
Yeah, we read this one over and over and over.
I have read this one. It is great.
I just have such fun memories of reading this book. And I don't like this whole series, the Building Christian Character series. To me, it's a little on the nose and it highlights the bad behavior almost more than the good behavior. It's like a 50-50. Like some of the things that these kids do, my kids would never think to do. Even in this book, like my kids aren't lazy, they don't grumble, they do their jobs, they like to work, they think work is fun, because that's just the culture we've created in our home. So I don't want to bring in like too many of this type of thing, like, oh, let's talk about line, let's talk about...
Yeah, you don't give them a bunch of new ideas.
Yeah, a bunch, like obviously our sin nature is not like a new idea, but some of the things just because of what we've done in our home aren't really an issue that we're currently struggling with. Okay, so Farmhouse is a very special story. It's kind of like a true story. The author went to this old farmhouse where 12 children used to live, and she found all these newspaper clippings and scraps of the home, and then she layers them in the illustrations in this book. And she was able to talk to one of the 12 kids that was still alive and talk about their growing up years. So it's kind of like half her imagination, how their life looked growing up in this farmhouse, and then hearing about it from a woman who actually lived in the farmhouse. This complete book of the Flower Fairies is a book that Lucille and I love to read in the evenings. And we've actually been learning a lot about our flowers through this book. And so it's fun to see flowers on our walks. And I mean, we can't quite identify them, but we try. And the illustrations are lovely. I love that it really has encouraged her to enjoy poetry and see it as something that's beautiful and enjoyable, not like totally boring. Miss Susie, another one from Grandma's library. Like favorite, you know, like if it was your favorite growing up, then you know it's good, right? Because like as a parent, sometimes I'll bring home books and be like, oh, my kids will love this, but it's like, it's what I love, not what they love. So this is a favorite in our home, Miss Susie, story about a little squirrel who gets kicked out of her tree and has to claim her home. Miss Rumpus, I think that's how you say her name. That's how I say her name. That's how my kids think her name is said. The illustrations in this, again, are just lovely. You're like, they're peaceful and calm. And I don't know, when you go to the library, you realize how rare a book like this is. It's all about doing kind, big things that are gonna bless people in a really beautiful way.
I will say this next one, again, a great book, great kind of gospel-centered kids illustrated book. The writing's not my favorite. I think that, R.C. Sproul's not necessarily known for like his children literature. I love all of R.C. Sproul's writings, but again, it's not like my favorite children's book to read from like a technical writing standpoint, but highly recommend it when it comes to the illustration and the overall message of the book. What do you think? Yeah,
it's like an allegory on the gospel message. So it's really powerful allegory, even though I agree it didn't really draw me in, but the kids have me read this book over and over and over and over. Like, it's one of their favorites. And it's like a gift from their grandparents. So
that's awesome.
That's a win. The 7 Silly Eaters. This is another little silly rhymey book. We had 3 silly rhymey books in here, and the kids have huge chunks of this one memorized. They love that there's 7 kids. They get on me, why don't we have 7 kids in our family yet? Like, hey, we're trying our best here. They all name themselves in the book, point out who they are. There's a Lucy in here, so Lucy really likes that. And it's just a fun little story. And what's really cute is our kids aren't picky eaters. They kind of laugh at this book. But at the end, the kids all band together to make their mother a birthday breakfast. And I woke up on my birthday this year, and the kids had gotten up, had climbed up in the pantry, gotten my breakfast cereal down for my birthday, poured the milk. It's like sloshed all over, and it like makes me want to cry. We're standing behind my chair singing happy birthday when I came up in the morning, and they got that idea from this book that you should make your mommy breakfast on her birthday. So the little house. This, I was really happy to see this on different people's book lists because this was one at my grandma's. This one and Mike Mulligan and his steam shovel are from the same author. Katie's also really cute. That's a part of this series, and they're fun books about This one's kind of a seasonal book, how things change, how a little house goes from the country to the city and then back to the country. And then this one is all about a guy who works a little faster and a little better when people are watching. Oh. And that's my oldest son's motto. He always says, Mama, if you watch, I'll work a little faster and a little better. And so it's just, they're both really cute old books. They've been around for a really long time. They're classics.
Nice.
Okay, this one is from the same author as Farmhouse, and she just does the coolest illustrations. This is just a delightful book to read. The kids ask me to read it all the time. So Lighthouse. Hello, Lighthouse. You could take that one too.
Really? Awesome. Thank you.
Corduroy, this is just a classic book.
Yeah,
everyone knows who Corduroy is.
I see it everywhere.
Have you read it?
I have read this. Of course I've read this one. It's
What's
like at everybody's
Give
house.
me a narration.
It's about a teddy bear named Corduroy, right?
So far, so good.
Okay, cool. And then I think there's some character lessons that are drawn from it.
He loses his button.
Exactly, and he's got to learn how to cope in life without his most useful resource.
I suggest you go out and get the book. Little Red Hen. This is another easy reader. The illustrations are really cute in it. The kids love that they can read a book to their siblings once they learn to read. And I love a good work ethic book,
Yes.
If you can get a good work ethic book, and also not just work ethic, I think here in America, we're obsessed with hustling and working for other people's approval, but just to work, to get something done, to enjoy it yourself, like making a loaf of bread,
Yeah.
That's the kind of work I want to promote in our home.
Amen. I have read Just Because You're Mine a couple of times, and once again, you cannot say anything, but this is so sweet. I think
it's
there are
precious.
And it's funny because I hope it resonates with my kiddos because it resonates with me, and it definitely highlights what I want to communicate to my children. I love that they want to show off for me and show me their new tricks and their new skills. But I always want them to know that I love them because they are my son or because they are my daughter, and really make sure that they're confident in that.
So many Aesop's fables you can get. I feel like a lot of them are very dumbed down these days. This one's the exact opposite. There's some words in this book that nowadays we use that have a completely different meaning. So I kind of sub out those words currently. Just so my kids aren't walking around saying things that other people are like, huh? But I really love how it keeps the old English and makes you feel smarter when you read it. And I feel like it's stretching the kids' vocabulary and helping prepare them for classical literature in general. So I really do recommend this copy in particular. Chantecler and the Fox is kind of sorry, I'm doing a little fast pass over to you.
Good, yeah, thanks, yeah.
Is kind of like a Aesop's fables because he's this proud little rooster who gets what he should have coming to him.
Whoa.
Da-na-na-na.
Okay.
Da-na-na-na. The 12 Dancing Princesses. This was one of my favorites growing up. Again, a lot of bang for your buck when it comes to words on a page. This will take you about half an hour to read or maybe longer. And it's just a classic. I don't know if it's a Hans Christian Andersen fairy tale, but it's a classic fairy tale retold, and the illustrations are just beautiful in this book. This is kind of more for school, but something we don't have, with the whole screen-free thing with our kids. I'm not going to YouTube all the time at this age level like I was for references to other countries or stuff like that. When they hear about people, we live in North Idaho, and pretty much there's not a lot of diversity up in North Idaho. So I really love opening my kids' eyes to other parts of the world. We do that through reading missionary books. And then we go to Material World, and I think this one was Hungry Planet. And we look up the country in these books, and their photo references for Hungry Planet is about what people eat in different parts of the world. So you can go look up whatever country it is and see kind of like what their shopping looks like, how they prepare their food, what kinds of foods they eat. So we love looking up that.
Nice.
And then Material World looks at an average family's life in that country. So kind of the same thing. You could look up India, you could look up Chile, you could look up, these are both very expensive books. I think I got them used and they're still like $70 or $80
Wow.
a book. But we use them all the time as far as references to other cultures. And so the kids love that. It gives them an idea of what we're actually talking about when we read books about different cultures and stuff like that. So I really recommend those as references. Anyway, so that's it. That was a lot of picture books.
Yes. Well, we have a lot of kids. We spend a lot of time reading.
We do, yeah. And so let us know down below, what are your favorite picture books? We kind of went on a buying splurge this last year. Now it's kind of like slowed down to a dribble.
Yes.
But we would like to know, here and there, what are other books that we could add to our children's picture book library collection?
Thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed, please do that as well so that you can always be alerted when we come out with a new video.
See you next Thursday.
Bye-bye.
Bye.